Thanks for joining me, guys. We've got yet another Hasbro interview with the Marvel team, with the quote unquote big three for the Hasbro Marvel team. Take a quick second and just introduce everyone. Dwight, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I'm Dwight. I'm a principal designer at Hasbro. I've been working on Marvel for a long time, and here I still am.
And I'm Ryan. I'm in marketing. I am Dwight's partner in crime for the past couple of years.
Yo, what's up? I'm Dan, also in marketing. I'm really just a hype man for Ryan and Dwight. That's just my job.
Best in the biz.
So I got a handful of questions to ask. Thanks for taking the time again to talk to me. So this is the third one that we've gotten to do. I'm going to start with literally and figuratively the big question right now, Galactus. So we are, as of this morning, it was like 11,800 when I last checked, or a little bit more maybe by now. We got 2 weeks left. If somehow at, say, the 11th hour, we aren't there yet, are you guys gonna show off any unrevealed stretch goals to like drum up support and say, we haven't made the goal yet, surprisingly. This is all the stuff you could get if you plunk down your dollars right now. Is that something that you guys are thinking about, or are you guys just expecting that we're going to get there anyway? Like, I kind of expect we're going to get there, but it's a what if we don't get there by the last minute kind of thing. Because I want to see what else we haven't been shown yet, really.
Yeah, so I think every day we're looking at the website multiple times and having meetings. So I don't know that we even actually know what we're going to do at this point, honestly, with two-ish weeks left at this time. I think we remain positive that we will get to that 14 and hopefully beyond to unlock Frankie Ray Nova, which is a great figure, comes with a great accessory piece that works on it. But no, I don't think we it's not like we're withholding a lot of things. And I think that speaks to a bigger question. We expect a lot of HasLab discussions today. If there are certain things we can't really get into because there's a lot of business related considerations, but I would just say that I see a lot of comments on, like we see other Kickstarters do such and such. And just to remind people, like a lot of Kickstarters, based on just my experience and other crowdfund platforms, a lot of those are more independent, artistic things where people are just doing stuff on their own. We've got a lot of heavy hitters in this. It's logistically complicated, as you might imagine, with Disney, Marvel, Hasbro involved. But the bottom line is we're really doing our best. We want to see this project get made. We want to make it as accessible as possible. At the same point, we do know that it is a sizable investment and it is a kind of dream collector project. So as much as we can, we'd like to have people back it, but there's some realities into it as well so that it can get made. Like the team has designed this amazing engineering marvel, and Dwight can speak to more of it. They had to get it all done before we launched the crowdfund. So we have every intention and hope that it will fund. Otherwise, right, why would we do all that work? But yeah, it's gonna be a bumpy next couple of 2 weeks, but we're pretty confident.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the big question. It seems like on everybody's mind is are we going to see more? Why haven't they shown them? When can we expect to see them, kind of thing? Because obviously everybody wants to see them, but if, like you said, if there's a lot of business reasons behind the scenes why you can't, then that's a whole different story. So I'm just waiting for that 14,000 backers to hit, and then we can. Is there an expectation that we will see the next one once we hit 14K then?
Do we want to say that? Yeah, I think that'll.
I mean, we kind of already know what it is if that image is to be believed, right? So there's obviously another chromey kind of guy out there on that picture, but we haven't seen him yet. So is maybe the expectation that once we get to 14K, he might come into focus on that picture.
Yeah, potentially. And again, we are still evaluating day to day. And another point too is we're all getting better and learning how to do this HasLab thing together. Going back, we're actually the third HasLab action figure, if you don't really count HeroQuest. And right. So, we were the first ones to introduce tiers at all. And we got a lot of learnings from that time and tried to, roll it forward to this time. And we're seeing other things happening in the marketplace. There's other companies that are doing similar type activations that are doing somewhat different things than us. And so we'll continue to learn and see the best practices. And it's not going to be perfect every time, but we are trying to get better, whether that's, again, introducing tiers, making it internationally available pretty much in every major international market, either through Hasbro or a partner retailer, which was a big thing for the Sentinel and Galactus as well. So constantly trying to kind of improve that.
Gotcha. Moving on from Galactus, but
Wait, Jared, wait.
Of a tie-in to Galactus in this next question. So, and it's just sort of a goofy one, really. The What If show is in full steam, and we've got a What If wave coming, and that first episode was absolutely stellar. So it's pumped me up for that wave, something fierce. Does that, by any chance, open the door for What If comic figures? Like in the future, if that MCU What If show does well, does that in any way bridge the gap to give us something like a Wolverine Agent of Shield or a Aunt May Herald of Galactus kind of figure, if these What If figures from the MCU side do really well? Is that something that you guys have ever thought about? Because there's a lot of weird stuff that could be pulled from the comic aspect of that.
Yeah, we actually haven't discussed that yet. That's a really good question. The success of the Marvel shows could make it either easier for us or more challenging for us going forward, on how we put those characters out. Marvel's always very particular about how they release their information, and they hate to spread confusion unnecessarily. So they would, we would have to work with them very closely to figure out where and when and how we would do those types of figures, so that we were very, very clear that they are comic inspired, not television inspired, because we wouldn't want, they wouldn't want, and we wouldn't want the confusion to, like, I missed the episode of Wolverine, where was that one? And,
right.
There's a lot of other eyes that look at the stuff. So we definitely could do it. I think it would just be a long conversation on how and where and when, and what's the branding that makes it look like it's What If, but also that makes it very different than the Disney Plus versions.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. When I first saw that wave, that was my first thought was, they can do this now, they can do that maybe, but what is or isn't the holdup or any kind of hurdles to doing something like that? Because I'm really seeing that first wave of figures has gotten me super excited for all of the potentials that could hold if it's capable. But like you said, that is a whole different can of worms. It sounds like, if you don't want to sort of cross the stream, so to speak, without confusing folks who maybe aren't as in the know as other folks. And then I guess some of these questions are kind of tied together. So speaking of that one, that would kind of introduce like maybe a situation where you've got characters, say that you did go down the road of doing What If stuff, where characters and versions of characters maybe aren't as well known or as important to people. And there's been a lot of talk and a lot of rumors about price increases just across the board. Obviously, there have been some price increases for figures, and there's news. Well, I'll say rumors because I don't know if it's news or not. A lot of rumors about yet another price increase coming across the board for a lot of Hasbro stuff. Is there, taking that into consideration, pricing, what people have to spend, does that dictate kind of what you focus on when it comes to figures? Like if we had if figures for whatever reason went up to $25 for a regular figure, does that indicate a situation where you would maybe not introduce a character that is kind of esoteric or kind of goofy, that someone maybe wouldn't just randomly grab off the shelf, and kind of focus on more heavy hitters or very much timely things related to MCU and their characterization and things like that?
I think we'd continue just to strive for that balance. We've got a lot of priorities across the year, from new entertainment to comic to evergreen things. So I don't know that we'd necessarily change anything, like sort of the whole pricing and global state of the shipping industry and commodities for manufacturing. That's kind of separate. To kind of answer another question. Maybe a way we might do this is focus on distribution, right? Maybe fan channel or exclusives are where you get sort of the lesser known characters, and then your headliner waves are focused more on the theatrical and Disney Plus streaming. And we do like to throw in a little bit of fan service where we can in those mainstream waves. Yeah, so if you like your rock pythons, I wouldn't say they're completely off the table.
Okay. Gotcha. There's been a lot of chatter about another price increase coming, and I'm not asking if that's real or not. I wouldn't expect you guys to answer that right now anyway. But it just got me thinking of what dictates kind of character selection, how you guys pick and choose. Is it like, oh, this guy's definitely going to sell, maybe this one's not going to sell as much, and they can sort of amortize each other and offset the cost of a figure by introducing weirder stuff with alongside like a heavy hitter like a Spider-Man or a Wolverine or a Cap or something like that. So I was just curious if that might down the road play a factor into character selection as we see it in core waves, since obviously things are a little bit different when it comes to fan channel. We can get a little weirder sometimes by offering more variant type things or one-off kind of figures. So
I think it could. I think we just have to kind of wait and see what happens, right? Just to see what type of support's out there for those more, niche characters as well. I mean, sometimes those types of characters are actually really profitable for us to produce, because often, we can find characters like that to put in the line that are just, very low tooling investments. So, they're, as opposed to an all new theatrical figure, when you break down the many different factors we have to think about when we lay out the character selects, tooling's a big part of it. So sometimes doing those characters from that side of it can be really a bonus for us. And we know that there are, we've done, man, this line's been going for almost 20 years. We've been doing it for almost 15. It's crazy how long this line has been successful and growing like it has. I think we need to constantly remember that we've done 30, 40 of those big hitters, and while they're always going to be important and we always will be doing more of them, there's a lot of those other weird team members or crazy obscure villains that you talk to the fans, we talk to all the different people when we were able to go to conventions, and you never know who's going to be someone's favorite character, and the things that they just fell in love with for whatever reason. So when we have the chance, we love to still add those characters to your shelves in the mix, because they're fun and weird. And man, I mean, like we just did Frogman last year, and that was just a real fun odd guy from the Stiltman wave, but he looks fantastic. And he's totally weird and goofy, but I'm so proud of how that figure turned out. And that's one of those characters that you probably wouldn't have expected to see, right?
Right. And he was, for me, the star of that wave too. I absolutely love that guy. So yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff draws me in to waves that maybe wouldn't necessarily be my thing sometimes. So it was just a thought off the top of my head of what that might bring for the line, in the future, should pricing change for the worse, I guess, in that sense. This next question is really targeted to Ryan specifically. I assume anyway. This is about the GameStop cards, because we've seen those in the card promotion that they recently did. So they say that they are wave 2 on the package. What's going on with that? What's wave 1? Are we going to see wave 3, 4? Things of that nature.
So it just came down to sort of production timelines. So what happened was, I believe there's 4 waves planned for this year, and they're themed for each. They're themed by wave. So the series 2 was like villains themed, right? So I believe the other 3 were the Iron Man wave, the X-Men AOA wave, and then the Fantastic Four retro wave that we just revealed. But the order, I think, got jumbled, and so I think now they're just going to start doing. And again, go to GameStop to read the fine print. But I believe it's as the packs are available, they will just kind of put them out, and kind of regardless of which figure you buy or what wave is on shelf at that time, whatever wave of the cards is ready, you will get a pack. So that's why it was a little confusing to start with wave 2. But the numbers aren't so much important, really. It's because they're all themed based on those 4 throughout the year.
Okay, it seemed odd when wave 2 hit first, and there was like, did I miss wave 1? Where did this come from? I know I didn't have a.
I know you're already starting and you're starting your collection and you're missing a whole wave already, and it's like,
like,
oh,
did
no.
I just miss 15 cards somehow? So I mean, I really liked that. I mean, you saw I got my hands on a bunch of those packs, and I thought it was just an awesome idea. It's definitely something that drew me right in. I mean, I went to GameStop and rebought a figure that I already had just to get a pack of those, because I was super excited to see, well, Marvel cards in a pack that I could get my hands on in a store. And then just the idea that it was themed to a wave also seemed really cool. Not to mention the fact that there are villains in those cards that don't exist as figures right now. You know, whether that is or isn't any kind of indicator, I'll leave to people's imaginations. But I thought it was a really cool idea. And is that something that you guys are looking at doing? I mean, obviously you said there are more. Is that something that you guys are looking at doing in like other ways with different releases or anything like that going forward? You know, something that isn't cards. You know, is Hasbro going to bring back Pogs or something? You know what? You know, is there a plan to do anything like that, or was this sort of just like a one-off kind of testing ground for something like this?
Yeah, so a couple of quick clarifications as you are, big into these cards too. In the initial marketing, there's a fine print disclaimer on the bottom. I don't know if you've seen this, Jared, where it says characters are not indicative of future Legends releases. So we tried to put that there to protect us a little bit, because no, not every one of those characters is going to be a Legends figure imminently. Secondly, this was a great opportunity that came out of the U.S. GameStop sales team and partnership with Upper Deck. As we know, Upper Deck is the official, trading card licensee for Marvel, and they make a lot of, great product there. So currently, this is limited to GameStop, but now we have the introduction. We've worked with Upper Deck before, and we're actually meeting with them to talk more and probably geek out about the old days and to see if there's ways to work together again in the future. But I'm just glad that this program has been a success, and it kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like people just saw them, and that was almost like a good thing, because so rarely do we have news like that in the day of Fan First Fridays and pre-orders and everything. So it was I think it was nice to just see something for the first time and not know.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to be surprised by something for a change and have to like, oh, I need to go to a store right now and see if they have these. So that was a unique experience for the first time in a while. Honestly, it was kind of fun. But yeah, that was really exciting things. I'm glad to get a little more clarification on what we can see with those and when we're going to get them. So this is just entirely at GameStop then for the year.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It is a partnership with Hasbro, GameStop, and Upper Deck, all working together.
I originally assumed it was going to be different retailers. So this adds a little bit of clarification that I don't think I'd seen otherwise. So thanks everyone for joining. I really appreciate the time. Thanks for taking my questions. Thanks for clarifying some things and maybe giving us a little bit more insight into what to see down the road, and hope to do this again soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Jared. Peace.